Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my hair and answering all of the questions you guys sent me on my Instagram. I love doing chatty Q&As with you guys just so you can get to know me a little bit better and I can answer all your questions. Recently I've been doing something different with my hair. I've been doing these mermaid waves, and when I did them for the first time and posted them on my Snapchat story, you guys went crazy for them and loved them. So I'll kind of be giving you a little tutorial and product breakdown of how I achieved this look. You can check out the description where I'll link down every single product and the tools that I've used to create this look, along with the links to my podcast, my other YouTube channels, my book, my socials, and everything else you need to be able to catch up with me. But for now, let's get straight into it and I hope you enjoy. This is the Beauty Works Mermaid Waver kit. I have the whole kit laid out here and I just think it's absolutely amazing. And then to prep my hair, I used the Colour Wow Extra Strength Dream Coat when I washed my hair a couple of days ago, just to get it nice and glossy because my hair's naturally very frizzy. And then just now, while I was brushing my hair, I used the VO5 Heat Protectant. This has been my all-time fave for like 10 years. I love the smell of it. And then after that, I just topped it up with this new product I bought. It's the Garnier Fructis Sleek and Shine Anti-Frizz Serum, once again, to get it nice and smooth and silky. Okay, first question is, how do you feel now that you are an author? My answer is that it doesn't feel wildly different. There's no part of me that's like, oh my God, I'm an author. And I think the reason for that is I know that this is deserved and I feel so aligned and so normal in the lifestyle I have now, and I knew this was coming. Another reason is the book has been in the making for a couple of years now. So I always knew this was coming, but then on top of that, no matter what new accomplishments I have, it doesn't make me feel any different because one, I'm still the same girl, and two, whenever I am trying to work towards a new goal, I have to do the mental work beforehand to prepare myself to be ready to have that new lifestyle or that new phase of my life or having that new success or accomplishment. So I'm already in the headspace before I physically have the thing. And so whenever people ask me like, how does it feel to have 1 million subscribers or to be an author? I'm like, I felt like this a long time before I even have it. How do you deal with other people's stares and opinions when filming? You know what? I have gotten this so much in my years of vlogging, and although it has reduced since moving to London, because one thing I love about this city is people do not care what you're doing. Actually, my last vlog that you guys would have seen where I took myself on a solo date to Notting Hill, if you watch that video closely, you will see the amount of people that walk past me on the street and are like looking at this in my camera. A few years ago when I started vlogging, I used to hate it and it really prevented me from vlogging in public because I used to feel so embarrassed. But now I can do it with more confidence, because I realized just because somebody's staring does not mean they're judging you. Doesn't mean they're thinking of you negatively. It doesn't mean that they're like, oh my God, who she thinks she is, or like, why is she filming, and this and that. We create those opinions ourselves. Like, there's no facts or evidence we have that other people are thinking that. What if people are staring at you because they're simply just curious, which is actually a much more realistic and valid conclusion to them looking at you. Of course, if someone's filming or doing something that's out of the norm, you're just gonna look. I stare at people all the time, especially when they're dressed well, when they're walking with confidence. You might as well just do yourself the favor of telling yourself a nice narrative that lifts you up rather than tearing yourself down and thinking that I'm so weird or I'm so cringy and people must be thinking that about me. I feel like my hair's not gonna come out that well today because talking whilst putting a hot tool on your hand, making sure that it's staying there like for the right amount of time and not too long, and like trying to film and look at the camera but then also at the mirror and then also at the question is really hard. But before I answer the next question, I'll just give you guys a quick tutorial. So I take a section that's that big. I like to work in thinner sections. You don't have to, but I just feel like it helps me get the most defined curl. And then the goal is you want to go as close to the root as possible. And the only reason I know this is because I've watched so many tutorials. Oh my God, I have been doing it wrong. Sorry about that, guys. You're actually supposed to have this clamp thing underneath for better defined, neater curls. So this bit goes underneath. You clamp it down, you want to hold it there for like 5 to 10 seconds. You place the last tongue where the next first tongue is going to go. So it kind of overlaps, and that just makes sure you have a super uniform, neat curl. And then you just repeat that all the way down your hair with all of your strands. What is a core memory that made you the person you are today? This is such a beautiful question. I think it's a memory that wasn't too long ago, like maybe 3 years ago, because anything that made me the person I am today had to be from a time where I only started setting the habits to become the person I am today. It's never going to be anything to do with childhood or my teen years or anything, because I was such a different person and I lived in such a different way. By no means back then was I setting like the steps or the foundation to live the life I have now. So I'd say my answer to this question would be around like September, October 2022, so literally 2 years ago, when I graduated from university and I moved back to my hometown, back into my childhood bedroom with my grandparents. I would say just those few months in that era of my life is definitely the core memory of why I am the way I am today, because it's the first time in my life where I was so dissatisfied with where I was in life and I was so desperate to get out and live differently and succeed and get what I want, because at that point I didn't have any job offers, I didn't have any interviews, I didn't have any money, that I for the first time was so consistent with like I would wake up at 6 or 7 a.m. every single morning, go to the gym first thing, no breaks, no skips. I would then come back home, I would do my entire morning routine, I would sit in the garden and sip my matcha every morning to make sure I had sunlight and fresh air. I would come in, I'd read for an hour every single day. I was so on it with like posting every single day on every platform. Don't get me wrong, nothing was perfect during that stage. I know that sounds really nice, but also at that stage of my life, I remember crying a lot in my bedroom at the end of almost every day, because I was so upset with where I was at in life, and because I was working so hard to try and get to where I wanted to be, but I didn't have much to show for it and I didn't have the results yet. I was just consumed by self-doubt and I just felt horrible, or I felt like I'm never gonna make it. So it was hard, but what matters is, even though I felt that sadness every night, I got up the next morning and I kept going. I kept going, and it was hard and it was lonely and it was boring, but it got me to where I am today. It built that initial confidence, discipline, resilience more than anything. And during those months, I literally started writing my book, Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers, but at that point it was going to be an ebook. And yeah, those few months really made me the person I am today, because I finally started imagining who do I want to become, and then aligning how I was showing up every single day to that version of myself. And that girl that I was envisioning that I wanted to become back then was literally me. Literally me. And she was sitting in a room like this, and now she has it. So it's wild. What's the biggest change in your life since moving to London? This is a bit of a hard one to answer because it has only just been 3 months now. It's literally 3 months today that we moved here. And obviously the first month was a lot about just getting the apartment ready and getting back into a routine, and then obviously experiencing summer and getting back into the workflow and stuff like that, and literally just adjusting. And I feel like I just about have. And so a lot of it has been just making sure I'm consistent with my habits. So there's not much to say. I would literally say the only big change has been I'm holding myself way more accountable and actually actioning my goal to network, meet new people, and make new friends. I really did not do that in Birmingham, but I am going out of my way now to do it, which is really nice because I've always wanted to. And in Birmingham, I made like 2 or 3 friends, and then I just stuck with them for the entire year I lived there, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I think for someone with a growth mindset who is just started her 20s, when networking is so powerful, I really should have made more of an effort to do that. And I do think the one mistake I made in Birmingham, although I loved living there, was that I just got really comfortable and I stuck with that. How are you so happy all the time, or you just always appear so full of energy? I probably appear like I'm happy 100% of the time, because I will only ever pick up my camera and film if I'm happy. If I wake up one day and I plan to film that day, but I wake up feeling a bit tired or sluggish or just not motivated, I will cancel that vlog that day and do it a different day, because I want to be giving you guys that energy and I want to create an entertaining vlog, but also I don't want to push myself beyond my emotional or energetic level that day to make myself do something that I'm not fully ready for. However, having said that, there is truth in your statement, because I am considerably happier than I ever have been. I was saying to my boyfriend the other day, I can't remember the last time I cried. That's not true, actually. I cried on the day that my book came out. But other than that, I think that was probably my only time crying since I moved here. And over the last few years of my life, I used to be that person that would cry like 4 times a week because I was just really unhappy. And to go from that, or like crying yourself to sleep when in past relationships I was in, or because I was studying or doing things I didn't enjoy, or because I didn't believe in myself, to going to someone who literally never cries anymore, is a huge transformation. I would honestly say I'm happy all the time for a couple of reasons. One, I'm finally getting to do what I love. So I'm very grateful and I'm very lucky to be in a situation now where it's like I'm living in the city I always wanted to live in. I'm living with literally the love of my life. I'm doing the job that I've always wanted to do. Having said that, there are so many people that have all of those things, like got the apartment they always wanted, have the job they always wanted, but still feel sad or still feel miserable or stressed in life. Having all the things you've always wanted is not the key to happiness. They're just things. And your happiness can only ever be decided by you, by yourself. And so the biggest mistake I used to make, especially when I lived in my hometown, was thinking that my situation meant that I couldn't be happy, when what I now know is you can create happiness no matter what. When I was in school and I was miserable and hated every single day, I could have easily created happiness. It's literally a conscious decision you make, backed by certain beliefs, practices, and routines that kind of ensure that your happiness stays consistent every single day. Like, one realization I've had over the last year is exercise is literally the key. I have never been a gym girly. To this day, I'm not a gym girly, and that's why no matter how many times you guys ask me to post a gym tutorial or like workout day in my life, I'm never gonna do it. I'm not a gym pro. I still don't know how to use half the machines in there. I have always said I don't go to the gym to change my body or to lose weight. I literally go to the gym for my mental health and for my happiness, because I realized I felt my best emotionally, mentally, everything in phases of my life where I used to go to the gym every single day. And back when I wasn't consistent and I would take a month off, weeks off, I would feel so sluggish. I didn't have energy for the day. I'd be really tired. I'd crash. I wouldn't feel good about myself. And I've really looked into all these things that people say you're supposed to do: drink water, spend time in nature, talk to your family and friends. Like, it all sounds so generic. But once I actually thought, okay, if I incorporate this into my life, how is it going to make a difference? It literally makes a difference. What's on your bucket list for the remainder of 2024? I love this question. You know what? Number one is actually to travel and to do a big holiday. So nowhere in Europe. And the reason I say that is because I put a lot of travel destinations down on my vision board. I'm really determined to make that happen. Like, I wrote down Dubai as one of them, because I haven't been since I was 15 and I just really want to experience it again as an adult. That's really important to me, so hopefully I can make that happen. And then other than that, it's honestly just to keep leveling up in the work sense. That is my number one priority. Although I have so many of the goals, like making friends and networking and stuff, I'm okay if that comes at the beginning of next year. But before 2025, I have so many work goals I want to accomplish. Not only like from a metrics point of view on social media, but there are a few things I'm working on right now that I can't wait to launch. And there's just been things like ideas I've had for a while that have been in the pipeline that I'm still working on right now. And I'm so determined, like, they have to come out before the new year. I won't allow myself to bring in the same workload that I've been focusing on this year into a new year. Like, I kind of want to bring it to an end so I can start on a fresh page for 2025. What career did you want to pursue growing up? I don't know if I've ever said this online before, but the first time in my life that I was like so sure I wanted a career was when I was 11 years old, but I like started saying it to just everyone, even my teachers, when I was 12. I have this one core memory that I was out at the cinema with my best friend at the time, and her parents came with us, and I just loved her parents. They were like super nice people. However, one of the parents said to me, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "A film director," and they laughed at me. And I was like, and that was my first ever experience of someone kind of shooting me down or showing me what is versus isn't realistic, before many other similar ones from loads of other people that told me this is not a realistic career, you cannot do this. And so unfortunately that was the beginning of the death of that dream, which is really sad when I talk about it. Like, I literally at 16 had plans to go to film school. I wanted to go to film school in London. I wasn't ever planning on being in front of a camera like I am now. I always wanted to be behind the camera. You know, a lot of you guys know I started YouTube because I love the editing side of it. I went to uni and I just studied a safe subject, and then afterwards I was applying to just marketing jobs because I thought that was the regular thing to do. Thankfully, I got rejected from almost every single interview, which forced me to move home and pursue social media, which was my passion at that time. And yeah, I did that, and I honestly have not thought about the fact that I wanted to do film for so many years, because I get so much joy and I feel so fulfilled from what I do on social media. But if you guys watched my New York series vlogs, then you'll know I went to a sidekick for the first time. And I asked her about my career, and she said, "You're supposed to be in the film industry." And I have not spoken about my dreams to be in the film industry for such a long time. She was like, "You're either going to be in front of the camera or behind it." She was like, "I can't see that clearly, but you should have been approached by the film industry already." And I was like, this is crazy. So who knows, guys? If it never happens in my life, I actually don't mind. I love what I'm doing right now, and I'm just going to continue staying true to the desire I wake up with every morning, and whatever my dream is, each day. One person here said, what does success mean to you? Other people were like, what was your main reason of success? Like, or why are you focused on it? Or how did you get there? Success is so different to everybody, and there's not a one size fits all answer to it. Success doesn't mean being a millionaire for everybody, and it absolutely shouldn't. Success to some people means, you know, having a family life or being a great mother. To other people, they probably couldn't think of anything worse and they want something different. And I think it's really important to understand that success is different, and just because one person looks successful to you doesn't mean that that's going to be the successful life for you. And so my unique answer to this question is success is recognizing how far I've come from who I used to be. That's my definition of it. That's not going to apply to everyone, and that does not mean that should be everybody's goal. I just think for a really long time in my life, I've been addicted to the process of seeing, oh my God, I've grown from this point in my life, or oh my God, I'm responding differently now, or I'm living differently now, or I can cope with this better, or my abilities or my skills have grown. It gives me so much satisfaction and fulfills me so much, and I just feel like that's my purpose. I know I'm successful if I've come a long way from who I used to be, or I'm shedding the things that never used to serve me or that held me back. And I think that's a lot of the reason as to why, like what I said before, I have such big goals for like the rest of the year, even though I've done some great things already, because I'm just like, but how much further can I go? And I wonder who I'm going to become, or who I'm going to grow into, or what new things I'm going to learn, or how I'm going to transform and become like such a great version of myself, because I feel like I'm always going to stay true to my authentic self, but you gain all these extra layers as you go through more experiences and learn new skills where you're still yourself, but a stronger version, or a more resilient version, or a smarter version, and I can't wait to see what that version of myself is like. Do you plan on writing more books soon? So I absolutely love the book writing process. I thought I would hate it because I hated academia and writing essays in university, but this was so different because obviously I'm writing about something that I have lived and that I'm so passionate about and that I know I have so much knowledge on. So I loved it, and it made me realize, oh, this isn't a one-time thing, like I would definitely do this again. However, don't expect it to come anytime soon. I think my book writing process for Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers was so good because I had the idea in my head for years. I knew exactly what my audience needed. I knew exactly what women everywhere needed, which I knew they weren't getting because I had gone to the bookstore looking for that type of book for so long and couldn't find it. So the idea was so solid in my head. The passion and the urgency was so solid from the get-go, which is why I think the book turned out so great. I don't have any other ideas for books. I would never, being an author isn't my main thing. I would never write a book just to write a book. There are loads of books I could write. I could write a book on manifestation. I could write a book on self-growth or productivity because of my own experiences on it. But unless the passion and the idea is there and I'm like, the world needs this, I wouldn't write one. How did you manage your time during school? Now, this is a bit of a different question, but I really wanted to answer it because I know quite a few of you are in school now, but also I've never spoken about this, and I think that this gives insight into kind of what the start of my story looked like. So when I was in secondary school, I would get home at 3:30 every day because I lived quite close to where I went to school, and immediately I would eat fruit or whatever snack, because I used to be starving when I got home from school, and I would spend 20 minutes eating and then watching a bit of TV, usually Nickelodeon, to just like wind down after school. Only 20 minutes, like I set myself that deadline. I would immediately run upstairs, go to my room and do all of the homework I had been set that day. I did my homework every single day the day I got it set. I was a bit of a nerd, and I was like, had that overachiever energy. So I would spend an hour or two doing that. By 6 p.m. I would have done all of the work, all of the reading, whatever was assigned that day. Like I never had to worry about deadlines kind of thing. After that, I would go downstairs, I'd spend time with my family, and I would watch TV and eat dinner. And then after that, for a few hours, I would always do something extracurricular. So one thing a lot of people don't know about me, I don't know if I've said this, but I basically, from the age of, I started it when I was 14 years old, started an entire reality show about my family. So my family is really big on home movies, and I really wanted to be able to create that for all of my younger cousins, being the eldest in my family. So I have literally filmed their entire lives over a 10-year span period while I was living in my hometown. I would film them all the time, and then I would, every day after school, would edit each new episode. There was an intro for it, there were credits at the end, there were interviews. It was kind of like a Keeping Up with the Kardashians like layout of a show. Everybody has access to these videos, and we watch them all the time. I was actually watching some of the episodes last night with my boyfriend, which is so nice because he gets like a really good insight into what I was like as an awkward teen and what my family is like, and our whole natural dynamic, because there's no acting in it. It's all like very realistic. It's such a random thing, I know, but I'm telling you guys this because I never knew the impact of what that was going to be, and obviously how long I was going to do it, and that it was going to go on for 10 years and literally capture my cousins from like one of them, 2, till literally 12 years old it ended, and she can watch herself growing up. And it would take me hours to edit each of these episodes. Nobody asked me to do it. I did it by myself. But one, it gave me a hobby to do outside of school that kept me entertained and, you know, made sure I wasn't probably like scrolling on social media too much at that age. 2, it fulfilled me because it was a genuine hobby I had to edit videos. And 3, it gave something so beautiful to my family, but also myself, because now whenever I'm nostalgic, I have something to look back on. So that was a really great use of time, and I always made sure I was doing stuff like that. You know, by the time I was 16, I set up a fashion blog website. As soon as I did my homework, I was working on that for hours. And then every night before bed, I would just watch loads of YouTube videos, which is probably what encouraged me to become a YouTuber at this age, because I just would consume so many YouTube videos, and I understood how people spoke in YouTube videos and the layout of their videos and how they would edit it, which definitely fueled this passion, which is why I'm such an advocate for social media, because I think if I didn't watch or consume as much of it as I did, I don't think I'd have this career now. And then on the weekends or during school breaks and summer holidays and half terms and stuff, I was always doing extracurricular stuff. I was either like learning new skills online. Sometimes I would do courses online, or I was learning how to refine my editing skills, which obviously at that point I never knew would pay off at this point in my life. But yeah, I was never really, unless it was an exam period where obviously I'd be studying every single day from 6 a.m. every single day for like weeks on end, I would never study or pay much attention to like extra reading or mini tests that they'd set throughout each week during like a normal school semester, because I didn't see any point. And I'm so glad I had that outlook, because I wouldn't spend my weekends out with friends because I wasn't allowed to, living in a strict household, and I wouldn't spend it over studying because I knew I didn't have to. So instead I was just learning all these extra things and trying new projects. Like I set up my first business at 17 when I was doing my A-levels. So yeah. If you could pick a career outside of content creation, what would you want to do? Oh, it's such a hard question and I don't know, but all I can say is it would definitely be creative, and I would definitely be my own boss. Maybe I would set up a business, maybe it would be a service, maybe I'd start an app, but by no means would I ever be in a 9-to-5. I made the decision at 12 years old. I remember telling my friend in my science class at school, I just know I have this deep feeling that's not my purpose, that's not what I'm meant to be doing, and I can't put up with that. And so I know that because I know what I'm like now. So if I couldn't do social media, I would definitely be my own boss. I would set up a company, or I would like co-found something. What's your religion, if you're comfortable enough to answer? I appreciate that. Yeah, I've never spoken about this online because I am not a religious person. Being Indian and having lived with my grandparents, of course, I was exposed to religion, and they themselves are somewhat religious. I wouldn't say like a lot. My parents and my uncles and my aunties and my cousins are not religious at all. I didn't really grow up in the environment where I had to kind of go down that route, which is nice because it made sure that I could make my own decisions about what I want to believe in. But my background and the family I come from are Sikh, which some of you will know as Sikh, and that's my family's religion. And growing up when I was a child, my grandma like really tried to get me into it, and to be fair, she did. Like I would pray with her almost every single night before bed, and I definitely believed in it because I was young and I didn't know there was an option to believe in anything else. So I did that for a while, and then when I hit like 10 years old, a bunch of bad stuff happened in my personal life, which definitely wrongly, I remember at like 10, 11, I thought, if bad things are happening to me, then that means God isn't real. And for the next 10 years of my life, all throughout school, I never paid attention to religion anymore. Like I completely lost my faith in it. It was definitely the wrong stance to have, and by no means do I stand by that anymore, but that's just what I believed in at that time. And then when I started university and I was 19 years old, I obviously realized that, and I thought maybe I'm gonna give religion another go. And so throughout university, I went through phases where I would go back to the temple, the Gurdwara, and I would pray again, or I would just try to figure out if religion had a part in my life and whether it aligned to me, or whether it would help me, or whether I aligned to that set of beliefs. And I really gave it my full shot because I was like, I don't want to say no to something without actually fully trying at it. And in the end, I just realized actually this isn't me, and I don't think I could fit this into my life. And if I was going to follow religion, I would want to do it fully properly, and I don't think I have that in me. So no, I'm not religious, I'm more spiritual, and I don't have anything against religion. I think there are so many beautiful religions that have such amazing values. Sikhism is one of them, like being selfless and helping others, that's amazing. in my life, I just prefer to have my own set of rules. And I think religion has never served me because I don't like that, you know, stuff like you can't cut your hair or you can't eat certain foods, you can't do this, feels restrictive to me personally. And that's why I've never really gotten on with it. I've now finished my hair, and so I always top it off with the L'Oreal Elnet hairspray, just to give it that hold and shine. But that is the finished look, and so I'll answer the final question now. I got so many questions on what are your hobbies, how do you spend your free time? So first things first, goes without saying, reading. I'm such a self-help reader, and even though I do it in my morning routine, if I get a few hours spare, if I have a Sunday to myself, I will sit on the sofa and I will read a book in a day. Like, I love that. And recently I've actually been getting into fiction again, so who knows where that's gonna take me. And honestly, with reading fiction, I want to read even more. Aside from that, obviously I love going to the gym or going on walks. One thing me and my boyfriend have been doing recently has been just going on bike rides around London. That's so nice, especially with this weather. Another thing I've gotten into recently with free time is baking. I've baked a freshly batched, like, tray of cookies like 3 times in the last 2 weeks, and it's been so fun because that was my main hobby back when I was 15, and so it's really nice to do that. I get a lot of peace from that. Aside from that, there's not much to say, unfortunately, because I'm either seeing people trying to like catch up on my social life or just work. But to me, my work, making videos and editing, has been my first ever proper hobby since I was 10 years old, and I just get to do it for work now, so that's great. But yeah, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial. Like I said before, the link to the hair curler and everything will be below in the description, along with all of my other content and things that I do, so check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please comment down below, let me know what question you liked, what answer I gave, if there's anything I said that resonated or you related to. I would love to know, because I love with chatty videos like this when you guys give your input or let me know what, like, how you'd respond to what I'm saying, because I'm literally sat here talking to a camera by myself, and I will definitely read through the comments and respond to a few. But thank you for watching, thank you for getting to the end of the video, I really appreciate it, and I will see you same time next Sunday for a brand new vlog. Bye!